Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Folks, today is Thursday, March 5th, 2026. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. I'm here at the Rainbow Push Coalition, where a number of things are happening as we speak. There's going to be a Rainbow Push family reunion, as many of the folks who volunteered with Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. will be here. They will be joined together, more than 300 folks here to celebrate his life and legacy. Also, what's happening in the main auditorium, Omega Psi Phi, Reverend Jackson's Fraternity will be holding their Omega service as well. We'll be talking with a number of people all throughout the next 2 hours about his life and legacy as we prepare for the public celebration, his home going tomorrow at the House of Hope here in Chicago, and then the private ceremony taking place Saturday here at Rainbow Push. We'll be covering all of that right here on the Black Star Network. News out of Washington, D.C. Ice Barbie Kristi Noem has been fired by Donald Trump after her disastrous testimony hearing the last 2 days. Will show you how she was jammed up by members of the House regarding her relationship with Corey Lewandowski, but also a $200 million advertising contract that was no bid. So all of that to talk about. In addition, SNCC organizer, Alabama Field Director Bernard Lafayette is now an ancestor. He passed away earlier today. We'll celebrate his life as well. Lots to talk about right here. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. Yeah, it's Uncle Roro, y'all. Yeah, it's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Folks, we're coming to you live from Chicago, the south side of Chicago, at the Rainbow Push Coalition headquarters here on 50th Street, as a number of events taking place back in the city celebrating life and legacy of Rainbow Coalition founder Jesse Jackson Sr. Of course, passed away Tuesday before last. On Monday, they, of course, had the ceremony in South Carolina. His body was transported back to Chicago. What's happening today? You have the Rainbow Push family. They're going to be having what they call their family reunion taking place here in a couple of hours. But also, in about an hour, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity will be holding their Omega service. Reverend Jackson, of course, was a longtime member. Anytime y'all saw photos of me and him, trust me, I was throwing the ice and he was throwing the hooks. That was always what we always did when we saw each other. Even when he was in his hospital bed when I was here in November, we were joking the same thing. And so, and I told him he belonged to a youth group and he shot me a look. But that's what we always did. So, again, we're celebrating his life and legacy tomorrow. That's going to be the public celebration taking place at the House of Hope. Doors are opening at 9 a.m. local time, and then the funeral service begins. The homegoing begins at 11 a.m. We will be live beginning at 10 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central, those 2 hours. And, of course, we'll be covering the homegoing service. You're going to have 3 presidents who will be in attendance, President Joe Biden, President Barack Obama, as well as President Bill Clinton. And we expect a full house. The House of Hope seats 10,000 people on the floor, some 2,200 folks, 8,000 in the other seats. And so we look forward to that. And then, of course, on Saturday, with the private funeral service taking place here at Rainbow Push, we'll be having that live coverage of that as well, beginning at 10 a.m. Eastern. And so many people sharing their thoughts and reflections. We've had folks on the air talking about when they first met Reverend Jackson, the work that they did with him, and what he meant to them. Dr. Glenda Glover, longtime president of Tennessee State University. She joins me right now. Also, former international president of Alpha Kappa Alpha, their headquarters here in Chicago. She joins me right now. And we were chatting earlier, and you first met Reverend Sanitation Strike, Memphis?
Yes. I met Reverend Jackson in 1968 when my father was working with the sanitation strikers. In fact, my father was a supervisor of the sanitation workers, and he was part of the group that brought Dr. King to Memphis, and I met Reverend Jackson at that time. And it was a very special moment, very inspirational moment. Then fast forward, years later, when I became president of Tennessee State University, he was my first commencement speaker at Tennessee State University.
I know a little something about that.
Yes, because you were commencement speaker probably maybe 2 or 3 years down the road.
I think I was your last one before you got out of there. Almost.
You were close to the last one. I think Oprah was the last one.
There you go.
Yeah. But it was, he just has meant so much to so many. The way he championed for HBCUs and getting the HBCU funding. I remember the last words he said to me was, make sure you keep this funding fight going. And that was so special. So we've got a group together who's trying to keep that funding fight going, that battle for fair funding for higher education, especially HBCUs.
Well, on Saturday when they left here in Chicago to travel to South Carolina, they stopped in Nashville.
Right. I received a phone call from Rainbow Push to ask if I would coordinate that. So they went from Chicago to, I guess, from Indianapolis to Louisville to Nashville to Knoxville to Asheville, North Carolina, and then on to South Carolina, which I heard they had a wonderful service. But, yes, he was in Nashville for just for a rest stop for the family and get some food and just to retool. And it was a special moment. I missed a lot of it, but it was just a wonderful moment to share with the family. And Mrs. Jackson is such a super individual. I'm just in love with her.
Well, what was supposed to be an 8-hour trip turned to a 20-hour trip.
Yes, it did.
Which, of course, I think is fitting of Reverend Jackson because let's just say he was known to extend trips and extend stays when he was doing stuff.
Yes, we're well aware of that. So, yeah, you may think you have a 30-minute session, and it turns out to be almost 30 hours, and then he'll come back, and then the next thing you know, you're listed as a keynote speaker for something he's doing. So it's been a wonderful time working with the Rainbow Push and just doing research projects for him, coming to speak in for things that he's asked me to do, and to work with Tennessee State and the other HBCUs. He was so concerned about HBCUs and to make sure they kept growing and producing the right students and who could go out and be competitive in a global marketplace. I mean, that was just his aim. That was so important to him. So we're going to carry out that. We'll continue to carry out that goal for him.
I would say the word indefatigable probably is it. And this is somebody who worked himself to exhaustion and would go to the hospital and was still working. I don't think people really understand how early in the morning, 5 a.m., going till 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and I'm quite sure you experienced the same way I did, those late-night phone calls.
Yes, one day, Shelley, who writes with him a lot, then it's Kyle's from Memphis that called, and he just said, get Glenda Glover on the phone. And it was about 5:30 in the morning. He said, I know that you're up, so don't give me that sleepy voice. He said, I need for you to do this research for me. I need a speech. I said, when is the speech? What day is it? He said, it's today. And I'm doing this at breakfast. I said, well, it's 5 o'clock here. He said, it's 5 o'clock on my watch, too. He said, so what did we do? Got up, mobilized a couple of people, and we got the numbers together for him because he was very keen on making sure he had the numbers correct.
Yeah, always about the data.
Yes, Yes, he would not give inaccurate numbers. And if you gave him one number that was wrong, he lost that confidence in you and your ability to communicate with him. So you had to always make sure you had the right data. So it was just nothing for him to call you guys. And one day he said, "Hey, get Roland Martin on the phone." And I said, "Well, I don't have his number." He said, "Well, get his number." And that's how I got your cell number. He said,
"You figure it out."
He said, "Tell him to meet me somewhere." I said, "Well, would it be better if you told him, because I don't actually know him like that to give him orders. Well, just tell him that I said for him to be there at this particular time." So you were there.
I'm used to getting those calls. I ran the Chicago Defender, and there were many times he would call me, and I wasn't even doing a story, and then he would sort of try to talk himself into the story, and I was like, "Rev, we already went to print." I'm like, "No, you should have called me yesterday."
Well, he had me do a speech one day for him, and he said, "I like that speech. Give it to me." And I said, "All right." I was honored that anybody wanted to repeat something I had said. So then he did it all over the country. And so one day I had to do another speech, and so I used my own work. They just said, "She got that from Reverend." So we had a good laugh over that. He said, "You didn't tell me different, did you?" I said, "No." But he was just a giant. He's a giant among men, and in every struggle that you want to go to battle with him. You had a choice of going to battle with an army of 200 people or taking Reverend Jackson. You would choose Reverend Jackson.
Oh, absolutely. I told the story before. Allison Payne, longtime TV anchor here at WGN, she was in Israel, and something happened, and they got detained. And she was trying to figure out, well, who do we call? Who do we do? And it was like, they were like, well, the crew was the State Department. She's like, She said, we call Reverend Jackson. So call Reverend Jackson. And what ends up happening is within an hour, listen, they on the phone with Israeli leadership, and they got out of that jam. So she said, anytime I get in trouble anywhere in the world, I know exactly who I'm calling.
Exactly. And that's how many of the HBCU presidents feel. We feel like if there's something that needs to be discussed, or if there's some kind of move that we don't think others will have the courage to do, we know that Reverend Jackson will do it. So we will call him up. We'll get to him. So I send him a text, and he may call back that day or later that day. But he would get back to you and send me all the information. And then he had a memory that he snapped it in, and he answered all the questions if he knew the whole story all along. He just had that ability, and I really appreciate how his just commitment to just education. Of course, my background is business, but because I was president of a university, it makes me an educator. And I was just so excited when he said, yes, I'm going to take this battle on, because every school deserves equitable funding. So there's a moral act that says students must be funded equitably. And if that's not happening, let's go for it. So that's where we are now.
All right, then. Doc, always good to see you. It's going to be great seeing so many familiar faces come through here as they remember our dear brother who's now an ancestor, and certainly a lot of great thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Folks, so we'll be talking to a lot more folks here. Let's do this here. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to lots more to talk about. You have Omegas who are lining up outside for the Omega service, and then we'll show you some of that as well. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network live here in Chicago at the headquarters of Rainbow Push Coalition for the homegoing celebration for Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. Back in a moment.
Welcome to The Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network and hosted by myself, Rhea Baker, and my good sis, Jamira Burley. We are just two millennial women tackling everything at the intersection of politics, gender, and pop culture.
And we don't just settle for commentary. This is about solution-driven dialogue to get us to the world as it could be and not just as it is.
Watch us on the Black Star Network, so tune in to The Other Side of Change.
A decade of love, joy, and power. Black Voters Matter is 10 years old, and we are just getting started. This is love with a purpose. This is Black joy in motion. This is unstoppable power. Across campuses, neighborhoods, and back roads.
Let's go.
We show up not just to vote, but to be seen, to be heard, to belong. We ride together, we organize together. We remind each other that our voices matter, because they always have. Black Voters Matter is about more than ballots. It's about housing and healthcare, clean water and living wages, education, reproductive freedom, and dignity. It's about turning pain into action, turning belief into movement, turning community into power. We don't wait to be invited. We bring the energy. We bring the love. We bring the people. Because when Black communities come together, we don't just survive, we thrive. This is how change happens. This is how history moves. We organize, we build, we win.
On a next, A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie, a relationship that we have to have. We're often afraid of it and don't like to talk about it. That's right, we're talking about our relationship with money. And here's the thing, our relationship with money oftentimes determines whether we have it or not. Balancing your relationship with your pocketbook. That's next on A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie, here at Black Star Network.
I'm Brittany Noble, Midwest-born, HBCU educated with experience in newsrooms across the country. Well, I've teamed up with Roland Martin to bring to you The Breakdown. This isn't just news. It's our stories, our voice, our community. Join me for The Breakdown, Monday through Friday at midday, only on the Black Star Network.
Hey, I'm Malcolm Lee, and you're watching the Black Star Network.
All right, folks, Roland Martin here. So I am using our LU Smart app. And so what you're seeing right here are the members of Omega Psi Phi lining up for the Omega Mega service. They're going through security here. This is Leak and Sons. They've been handling the funeral services for Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. And so the service is taking place no, you need to check all of them twice. Check all of them twice. So, hey, we ain't got time for all that. We ain't got time for all that posing.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Hey, let all them alphas know the Q's out here. That's right.
All right, don't start none, it won't be none. Don't let me have to hurt y'all feelings. Well, first of all, y'all live on my show. Because this the only time I'm going to show y'all. This the only time y'all going to be seen on my show.
That's what to say. Look, I've watched the show, so I better see us on there.
The last time I saw this many Omegas, I was at a prison.
Really?
See?
Outnumbered.
See, y'all need to stop. See? Y'all need to stop.
They were visiting you?
Y'all got more prison chapters than anybody to deny.
Don't start. Don't start. I told Reverend Jackson the same thing. Gig him. All right, since we are live on my show, I'll be a little serious. So, hey, Alpha's always here. We your daddy. See, he started. I'm gonna let y'all say a few words about Reverend Jackson.
You know, I served as Reverend Jackson's National Youth Director for the last 10 years. Rev took me all across the country. I pledged Omega. I went to Central State because of Reverend Jackson. Pledged Omega because of Reverend Jackson. Bridge builder par excellence. So, I mean, it's a blessing to be here amongst the fraternity, to be able to honor our mentor. Thank God for the coverage that we have.
Definitely, President, pleasure to be in this presence for Jesse. Anytime he's done college fairs or anything, he's always called me to do step shows for him. I would come do step shows for him, and never wanted anything just to be in front of an icon. And that's just who he was, and we're pleased to be here for that, brother. Thank you.
I will never forget being a student at Alabama State in 1988 when he was running for president, how he came down to Alabama State in Montgomery, Alabama, and set it on fire before I was even the bruh. So that was, for me, I'm like, I want to be like that guy right there.
I'm Ed Clark, longtime Chicagoan. My father is a peer of Reverend Jackson, Reverend Edward Clark Sr. Reverend told us we were somebody. I am somebody. I may be from the slums, but I'm not. The slums ain't in me. I am somebody.
All right. All right.
I don't appreciate Rolling talking about these jail chapters. We got to go through these. As you say that, we got to go through the beaches as you say that. We got to eat it in the village.
What's happening? All right, we live. We live on the air.
You live, brother?
We live on the air.
All right, now. That's all the bros.
In the shop, baby.
Stop throwing a little stuff up. Just say something about Reverend. We ain't trying to do all that.
No, yeah, we gonna say it. Because we the bros.
Mm-hmm. And he was the bruh. Yes. Here to pay respects. Send Reverend to Omega Chapter.
All right. We're gonna walk down here. Antoine, come on. We're gonna walk down here so I can give people a wide shot. Y'all get out the way. Get out the way. I'm live on TV. Move out the way. Yes, you do. You always move for alpha. Especially when it comes to GPA. Move. See? See? See, I told you.
Stranger in the
I told you. I'm too quick. I'm too quick for you. I'm too quick for you. All right, y'all live on my show. Oh, man, don't nobody care about y'all. Y'all took one of our colors. Oh, I know. Oh, who let your parole officer let you come out here? See?
There you go.
See? This the only time y'all gonna be on my show. This the only time. Don't let me call Michael Vick. Don't let me call Michael Vick on y'all. This the only way y'all getting on my show. This the only way. Remember, Alpha's your daddy. There y'all go. Whatever.
What's going on?
Whatever. This the only way y'all getting on my show. We live right now. All right, I'm gonna let y'all say a few things about Rev, but it ain't gonna be long because y'all can't talk long. All right, who got something to say?
I can't say it in front of church.
See, that's why we don't let y'all go out no public.
You wrong for that.
Come on now, come on.
What's up, bro?
All right, we live on the air.
Okay.
All right.
Well, you know, it's great to be here. Great that you came out to support the brothers. We're happy that
I came out to support Reverend Jackson. Let me be real clear. See?
Well, you support the brothers.
No, you said the brothers.
The brothers. It's good to see you. Thanks for being here.
All right.
Recording this live. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. All right.
Truly good to have brothers from all over the country and all over the world come here. Reverend Jackson, servant leadership, a stalwart brother from mankind.
Y'all stop it. Y'all familiar?
We need it.
All y'all flinch.
I know. Root to the Bros, 2nd District. Let's go.
All right.
Good brother, man. We just thank God for Brother Jesse, man, what he's done for our community. And God bless you, man. We're going to still keep going strong, man. God bless you.
All right.
He was filled with the Cardinal Principal Manhood Scholarship, Perseverance, and Uplift. Brother Jackson, my frat brother and my neighbor, 2 blocks from me.
He made you cut his grass?
Absolutely. When we needed it.
You said you online?
I feel like I'm still online, but I love Brother Reverend Jackson, man.
All right.
Yes, sir, Reverend Jackson.
We lost a global treasure, not a national treasure.
All right. Okay. Hold up, bro. I'm live. Hold up. All right. Anybody else got thoughts about Reverend Jackson?
Wonderful man, wonderful man. Yeah, wonderful man. Wonderful, outstanding. Thank you for coming down. Reverend Jackson brings out the Alpha and the Omega like Jesus.
Jesus was an Alpha, you know that.
And Omega. Civil rights icon.
One farewell word to Reverend Jackson.
All right, anyone else with thoughts?
Met him when I was 16. Worked with Dr. Hooks, Benjamin Hooks.
All right. All right. So, folks, so as y'all see, we're here at Rainbow Push. So what you have going on, mega service, but the Rainbow Push family is also having an event inside as well. And so folks have been coming here for the last week. Of course, body was lying in state, and it was here. We weren't here on the road. Lines were all the way down, and what you see right here. This is Drexel, all the police housing is blocked off. You see all the news crews who are out here as well. And folks have been coming out here really, again, my goodness, which was now actually heading into the 2nd week. And so I was inside earlier chatting with Jesse Jackson Jr. And other folks as well. And so this service will be taking place at 7 p.m. So as you see, and so you see they have the draping that's also outside of the Operation Push National Headquarters, which is called the Dr. King's Workshop. And this, of course, has been the home for more than 40 years. And so that is what is going on here. So this program, as I said, is going to be starting at 7 p.m. And so we're going to continue to see, as you see they got photos up here. Let me see if I can zoom in right here. And so you'll see right there, they've got this projector up here with various photos of Reverend Jackson. And so what I'm going to do, zoom this back out. I'm going to head back in. I got some other interviews to do inside, and so we have more interviews to talk about. Let me see over here.
Of course.
I'm going to see if I can grab Pastor William Murphy, who's been in line here, and then chat with him. Huh? I'm live on the show. I'm working. What's wrong? I know you ain't used to working. I appreciate it. Huh? Say it again.
I know you went to A&M, I'll give you a pass.
You can't help but do it. Please. You need me to tutor you? Oh, I go low. What up? I'ma go low.
Take that back to our brother. Don't do that. Erica's brother from the Defender.
Oh, okay. What's happening?
What's going on?
What's up, big dog?
What's up? All good?
CBS, boy, you know my man. We kick it at NAP.
Come on now. What's happening? What I
gotta do to get you on Pixel?
Huh?
What I gotta do to get you a Pixel channel? Add to it.
To get me a Pixel channel?
Yeah.
You send me an email. They need to advertise.
Okay.
Why are they already sending me screenshots of your show with me on there like this?
Because everybody watch. If y'all want to know what black people watch, they watch Rolling Martin Unfiltered.
Obviously, love you, man.
All right, come on, real quick, y'all. Share with y'all thoughts on Reverend Jackson, because we are live.
Wow. So
I got you, Doc. I got you, bro.
Let me tell you, the first time
Kristi Noem got fired,
I know.
And you helped.
I know.
I went to a meeting with Reverend Jackson in Atlanta. And Judge Mathis was there,
Mark Stevens, there had been some issues of racism at Clayton County schools. This is the first time in my life I had ever seen a white man shake with Reverend's presence literally being there. Wow. And that's when I realized he wasn't a man, he was a movement that literally came in there and shook up that system that day.
Wow.
Murph?
Wow, listen, I'll come from the other side. Reverend was great friends with my grandfather. I didn't even know he knew who I was. My first interaction with Reverend Jackson, he made me believe that I could do something to impact my generation. That's why I'm here today, so thank you. Reverend.
All right, appreciate it. Let me grab Wayne real quick. Wayne Watson, Dr. Wayne Watson. Wayne! I'll get you right there. We live on my show right now. Of course, you knew Reverend for a long time, heading City College of Chicago. Just share your thoughts about Reverend Jackson.
We can never measure the impact that Reverend Jackson had on us economically, educationally, and politically. We will never really be able to measure it. It was like a tsunami. I mean, we all love him, we all owe him.
Absolutely.
God bless you.
Good to see you, my brother.
Love you, man.
Yes, sir. Love you, baby. All right, folks. So I'm going to head back in. And so this is the end of the line. So the service will be starting 7 p.m. local time, 8 p.m. Eastern. And so we're going to head back inside, be doing more interviews. Hey, what up, gents? All right. So, folks, we'll be heading back inside. And so it's going to be jam-packed in there. As I said, I was in there earlier. I'm going to send a photo back to our control room so they can show you of when Reverend Jackson's casket draped in flowers as well. So, again, lots of love being shown. The Omega service of Omega Psi Phi and then the Rainbow Push family having their family reunion as well. So we're going to be heading back in there as well. So let's do this here. We're going to be, this, of course, this was a person that took Reverend Jackson to South Carolina and back. And so this is, again, Rainbow Push headquarters. I haven't been here, y'all, in a long time. I lived in Chicago for 6 years. And so as you see, the front and the side as well, the draping here is all over as well. So this is it right here. So again, I'll be back live inside. Y'all watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network as we're live here in Chicago at Rainbow Push headquarters, covering the homegoing services for Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr, passed away at the age of 84. Back in a moment.
Welcome to The Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network and hosted by myself, Rhea Baker, and my good sis, Jamira Burley. We are just two millennial women tackling everything at the intersection of politics, gender, and pop culture.
And we don't just settle for commentary. This is about solution-driven dialogue to get us to the world as it could be and not just as it is.
Watch us on the Black Star Network, so tune in to The Other Side of Change.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
With medicine and science under attack, I want to keep you and your family informed and healthy. I'm Dr. Ebony Hilton, and I knew at the age of 8 that I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied hard and became the first African-American female anesthesiologist hired at the Medical University of South Carolina since its opening in 1824. And I always say I was made into a doctor, but I was born to be a mom. And as a new mom, wife, sister, daughter, and friend, I understand how frightening a medical crisis can be. I care for individuals on some of the worst days of their lives, and it's my mission to provide you with a safe space to gain clarity on issues affecting your mind, body, and soul. I recognize that there are health disparities, particularly as it pertains to race, and I want to help bridge the gap between you and your healthcare providers. Join me every Thursday for Second Opinion on the Black Star Network, where each week I'll invite experts from various medical fields to share the latest health news. We'll discuss topics such as the vaccine debate, mental and sexual health, medical bias, infertility, menopause, andropause, nutrition, and aging. Together with my medical colleagues, we aim to provide you with a second opinion. Don't miss it, Thursdays only on the Black Star Network.
What's up? It's Talib Kweli. I'm CEO. This is the Black Star Network.
All right, folks, welcome back. A little chilly outside, being out there, so I had a good time out there. Let me bring in my panel right now, of course, Dr. Greg Carr, Chair, Department of African American Studies, Howard University, joining us from D.C. Also, Reese Colbert, host of the Reese Colbert Show, Sirius XM Radio. And Reese is with us, right? Okay, and then also Dr. Honola Haynes, Georgetown University School of Foreign Service. Brian Shapiro, host of Pushing the Limits, joining us as well. So glad to have all three here. I thought Reese was with us. All right, cool. I thought it was really all right. So glad to have everybody here. Let's get started. It has been, I was talking earlier, Greg, with former Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr., who, of course, is running for Congress again, and he was describing to me how amazing the trip was. It was supposed to be an 8-hour trip, and it ended up being a 20-hour trip, and just the people who they were seeing as they were stopping along the road. You heard Glenda Glover there talk about Reverend Jackson, how he was absolutely focused in and targeted when it came to HBCU funding as well. And I also was stopped by somebody, and they asked me, and they said, "Hey, Roland, people talking about who's next." And I said, guys, that's not a conversation you really can have here. There is no one who can replace Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. I said, we need to understand that. And so the real issue is, how do you sort of have this group dynamic? How does this next generation step up and accept its responsibility to lead our community and focus on the issues that matter today? And so it really has been amazing just seeing the outpouring of thoughts and reflections and love and the stories regarding people's interaction with Reverend over the years.
Yes, sir, Roland. And that is why it is so essential that what you are doing be done. Those stories, when you have anytime someone makes transition, those who knew them, loved them, those who were influenced by them or influenced by those who were touched by them, gather for the ritual. Too often we gather and then we disperse and we don't capture the stories. Just what we've witnessed tonight, listening to you in line there, kind of teasing with the Omegas, and then getting those stories, seeing Wayne Watson, hearing those stories, hearing those brothers from Alabama State and Central State talk about that. That resonates so much, and we have to document it. It reminds me, as you interviewed my president, Brenda Glover. The first time I met Jesse Jackson, I was student body president at Tennessee State. He had come to Tennessee State to help us in our struggle with the state of Tennessee, which was trying to decimate the Black student population at that time and reimagine Tennessee State as a white institution. Jesse came to, I'm proud to say, what was then my office, the president's office, and we sat and talked, our leadership with him, and then he had a press conference with us there. Not only did he back us, he folded it into his work. He had just run for president in 1984. He did that so many times it can't be captured. But until tonight, when you put that microphone in the face of those brothers, we didn't get their stories of how he came to their campuses and did the same thing. It finally, he can't be replaced. Jesse Jackson is the last major figure from that Martin Luther King era, with all due respect to Ambassador Young and others who are from that generation. He is the last figure to have received that torch, received that light, as Joe Madison might say, from his torch, the torch of Martin King and Ella Jo Baker and so many others, and turn around and not only light the torch of the next generation, but transition into the power politics phase that Dr. King didn't live to see. He's irreplaceable, nor should we even be thinking about it replacing him. We need to be thinking about taking the torches that he lit for us, to us, and then turning around and lighting them for the next generation by the terms that we are struggling with in this moment. But thank you, brother. These memories are really, they're irreplaceable. They're unmistakable in the sense that we must have our memory intact. And that's what you're doing out there in Chicago, is gathering our memory for us.
You know, Nola, I hate the fact that I couldn't be here last week. We were swamped with State of Our Union coverage. Then I was in L.A. for the NAACP Image Awards. On Monday, I was in New York for Susan Taylor's National Cares Mentoring Gala. I'd already committed to helping her organization raise money. We raised almost $350,000 for her. And so I hate that I missed the lines and lines of people who were outside of Rainbow Push. I remember going to Detroit, August 2018, and just the people who were surrounding the Charles Wright Museum, paying their respects to Aretha Franklin. And again, talking to those people, hearing those stories. We're going to be at the House of Hope tomorrow, and we hope to talk to a lot of folks just to share their thoughts and memories. And it really is, and this is the important people to understand, yes, he's passed away in the physical, but this truly is supposed to be about a celebration of life.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's really sad how I feel like there's a generational gap who maybe didn't grow up with the Reverend the way that I did. I know for a fact that I am sitting here and I am who I am because I grew up knowing that I was somebody. You know, I was old enough to see a Black man run for president, and also living in a city where there was the first Black mayor. So I feel like that time in the 80s, I really grew up being that little Black girl, believing I am somebody. And that is why I am sitting here today. And there is a gap in who he was, his vision, and what he stood for. And maybe, unfortunately, we have lost him, like you said, physically, but I am hoping, to Greg's point, that it won't end here, that we will continue to talk about Reverend Jackson. We will recall his speeches, and people will feel that thing that I felt as a young girl, not really understanding what was going on. I just knew I was somebody, and that Black man was on television. So last year, when I had a chance to meet some of the family, it was so profound for me because that man, who I've never met in my life, had such a profound impact. And what you are doing, preserving these stories out there in the streets, the detail, the reporting, the witnessing you are doing, I genuinely hope there's a resurgence in that fire, in that message. And I'm happy that someone pointed out the global part of his work. Again, I am sitting here because of that man. Right? So I hope that this is a moment where who he was can be remembered and carried on.
You know, Brian, as I sit here, the people who are coming through here, folks may think, well, Chicago, Southside, African American, but my goodness, I've seen folks who are white, who are Indian American, who are Asian. And so when people really have to understand, when we talk about the Rainbow Coalition, that's what it was. That was long before Bernie Sanders. That was long before, folks were talking about how Obama and this multi-ethnic coalition. I mean, we're in Chicago. A lot of people, Greg has talked about this a number of times on the show, a lot of people forget when Fred Hampton with the Black Panther Party met with broke white men from West Virginia. People forget that there were white Panthers. I know people don't understand that history because those white men in West Virginia, when they heard Fred Hampton talking about poverty, they didn't get it. Antoine, do me a favor. Antoine. Look at the back of my backpack here. I have Martin Depp's book. I was reading it. I was reading it on the plane. Martin Depp, and I hope to see him tomorrow or Saturday. No, it's the other book. Martin Depp was on the executive committee of Operation Breadbasket. And he wrote the book Operation Breadbasket, An Untold Story of Civil Rights in Chicago, 1966, 1971. And I was reading the portion today where he was talking about the fight, the call for the hunger campaign in 1970, and how they were fighting for for this issue. Matter of fact, I'm gonna come back to that story. I'm over here. Come on over here. Let me stand up, y'all. Brian, just hold tight 1 second. I gotta, we're live, so we gotta move things around. Just stepping in here. The wonderful Senator Carol Mosley Braun. She just stepped in here. I told y'all it's a family reunion here. Just share, we're live on my show. Just share your thoughts about this amazing brother we're celebrating.
Oh, it's amazing and wonderful that we're all blessed to be here. We regret and we mourn his passing, but it comes to all of us, doesn't it? So this is a man who did the best he could, and he did for all of us. He gave of himself to the point there was no more to give.
I left Chicago in 2010, and so it's been a long time since I've been in this building. And I'm sure you have many memories of Reverend saying, I better see you on Saturday at the workshop.
Yep, and I came. It's like, how high? So whenever he said jump, I asked how high, and we jumped as long as we could. So, this should not be a mournful situation. Mm-hmm. We're celebrating a great man who did it as much as he possibly could, and who gave of himself to the point there was no more to give. He just gave and gave and gave, and we're all blessed because of it.
Well, I was talking to Glenda Glover earlier, and I said, Reverend was like, man, do you sleep? Do you get tired? Because he could drain a lot of folk.
Yes, he could, and he but that was because there was so much to give. He had so much to do, and he went around and tried to do it. He gave himself every step of the way, and we're all grateful to have known him.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Good to see you. All right, you take care. Thanks a lot. Folks, former Senator Carol Mosley Braun. Brian, what I was saying before I pulled her in, I'm reading the book, and they were talking about traveling to rural Illinois and how they were doing these public hearings, and they were having poor people, white people, black people, people living in shacks, testifying about living on $125 a month, and how they were trying to get the governor of Illinois to put funds toward people who were hungry. These stories, and so that's the thing that people don't understand when you talk about the breadth and depth of Reverend Jackson's life. And then they tell the story how 85% of the people in Cook County Hospital were African American, and he then paired together hunger and health together. This is 1970. Here we are in 2026, still having conversations about hungry Americans and needing health care, and he was on those front lines in 1970.
Yeah, when I think about Jesse Jackson, it's not just about what he did for minorities and African Americans. It's what he did for humanity. That's what I think about. I think about this is what this man did for everyone. And I think we've lost that today. There are very few. They think about themselves first before they think about others. I believe that was the opposite of what Jesse Jackson stood for. And, we need more of that. We need more leadership in D.C. We need more people like Jesse Jackson everywhere. And quite frankly, I wish more people like you would continue to cover the legacy of Jesse Jackson. I feel like mainstream media, they just move on to the next story because there is a lot to talk about. But quite frankly, I wish I was out there with you in Chicago, a man that should be remembered by all, not just minorities. And I think that's what's missing in our culture today. When I talk to a lot of people who look like me, oh, well, he was a civil rights icon. Yeah, but that's not all he did. That's not all he did. And I'm sure that it pained him what's going on, not just to minorities in this country today, what's going on with everyone, everybody that, as you mentioned, in poverty, people that are on food stamps, that are getting their food stamps taken away. They're getting their Medicaid taken away from this big and beautiful bill, so-called. So that's really what I appreciated most about Jesse Jackson. And I was honored to have met him when I was in my early 20s at the Democrat National Convention. And we had a 5-minute conversation. I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. He couldn't have been nicer to me. And I just talked to him. And we can also make the argument, as skilled and as a great president as Barack Obama was, maybe he doesn't even become president, if not for the pathway that Jesse Jackson and the legacy that he left. So I think we also have to give Jesse Jackson credit for that as well. Yeah.
Well, he doesn't. I mean, that's just the reality. Reverend Jackson changed the rules. Greg, this was a passage here that I found interesting in Martin Depp's book. He said, breadbasket office volunteer Hermine Hartman, of course, published for Indigo. Now, I'm sure I'm going to see her today or tomorrow. It says she cut classes at Loop College to join the rally in Springfield. At one point, Hermine noticed National Guard troops standing on rooftops, holding rifles aimed at the crowd. She remembers becoming quite frightened and letting out a cry. Quote, Jesse grabbed my hand and stopped the line and made us get on our knees and pray. I was scared to death. He gave me a real lesson in leadership. And that was that you don't lead with fear from the front of the line. It was also a real lesson in nonviolent practice. When they resumed the march, Jesse asked her, are you still scared? Hermine replied, no. This was really jumped out, Greg. He talked about being in East St. Louis and they having testimony. And Reverend Jackson urged that federal subsidies given to Illinois farmers not to grow food should be used instead to feed the hungry. And surplus crops should be distributed to the needy. Jesse noted that Illinois botched its chance for $6 million for school lunches because of a failure to match the federal grant, leaving Cook County with meals for only a small portion of its poverty-level children. Jesse called for the elimination of the means test and praised the Black Panther Party for initiating the most creative and revolutionary food program where thousands of hungry children are fed. The only prerequisite for the Panthers program is that the child be hungry, and no one needs to be examined and his stomach x-rayed to find out if he's really hungry. I read that, and that's important, Greg, because we see Republican states that have been declining federal money to feed children in 2026, in 2025, Texas, Florida, Tennessee. We see where we still are paying farmers not to grow food, knowing full well there are hungry Americans. And you have Republicans who want to cut SNAP benefits. These are folks who literally, Reverend Bishop Barber talks about 30,000 people dying of hunger. And so, again, this is 1970. Here we sit 56 years later, and America is still unwilling to deal with its hungry citizens. I think you're on mute, Greg. Greg, you're on mute.
Yes. Sorry about that, Roland. Yes, you're right, Roland. And what you just read is really throws into relief something that we don't want to face. But, you know, I don't really have a problem talking about it because my people were trafficked, and I don't give a damn about the United States of America. I think the United States is really on the back end of its existence in its current form. Jesse Jackson, and people might think this is hyperbole, but I think as you just read, when we think about it, I don't think it is at all. Jesse Jackson's gifts, I'm talking about him as an individual now, his ability to absorb information. We heard President Glover, you talk about it. We heard Senator Braun talk about his ability to absorb information and then to convey it in a way that brought us together, that illuminated things that are human concerns, as you say, Brian, was really his contribution to the ongoing Black freedom struggle, which is really a human rights struggle. When what you just read, that's the vision of Martin King. That's the vision, the best dimensions of the Black freedom movement, the long Black freedom movement, liberation movement that we call the Civil Rights Movement. When you mentioned, of course, earlier Fred Hampton, and then again, the Black Panthers and the Rainbow Coalition, where Jesse kind of borrows that language. That is the peak moment. I think the United States missed its moment. The moment of the 1960s and 70s. How many times have you quoted from Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community? What we're seeing now is the backside of the empire. The United States now, its leadership, its white nationalist, racist, sexist leadership, is speaking to the lesser angels. These are the grandchildren of Bull Connor, the children of Barry Goldwater. These are the hate-filled, small-minded, hyper-capitalist promoting children of Ronald Wilson Reagan. And unfortunately, these are also the children of Bill Clinton and Joe Biden and the white Democrats who would rather push together a Democratic leadership commission, Democratic leadership coalition to move against the better angels of our common humanity, which was the Rainbow Coalition. The whites in Appalachia, the coal miners, Cesar Chavez, and those who were working, migrant workers on the West Coast. Jackson was speaking to everyone. And rather than embrace that vision, what you saw was the politics in this country decided to narrow their vision. It will ultimately mean the end of the United States as we think about it. Finally, a word to the Black elite. I was in Atlanta over the weekend and then Birmingham, Alabama over the weekend. And walking in those spaces, sitting and lingering, going to the place where the Freedom Riders were bombed in that little town in Alabama, Anniston, Alabama, and just being in that space was a reminder that the best of us, regardless of colors, stood together and said, we will sacrifice our lives to build a better society. The politics, the business people, the folks in this country who have bound together to seize power and try to hold on to it, rejected that vision. And it will be their autopsy and will be the autopsy of this country. And Jesse Louis Jackson did his best to help move us in another direction. And we must continue to fight to do that. But I think America may have missed that moment. And I don't know that we can be able to recover.
As Greg, as you were talking about, you mentioned Alabama. I was about 20 minutes before I went live, I was talking to Jesse Jackson Jr. And about 30 minutes earlier, it was Reverend Al Sharpton who had reached out to him to tell him that Bernard Lafayette had become an ancestor. Bernard Lafayette, folks, was the Alabama voting director for the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. He worked with SCLC. He appeared on this show several times. An absolutely a pivotal fighter. And again, fighting for freedom, fighting for voting rights. He was one of the folks working with Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Again, just an amazing, amazing brother. He was out there doing the work, folks. He was doing the work. He talked about when he first traveled to Selma. And in his book, he talked about seeing, and I first of all, getting caught off guard. I don't have it. I have the book at home. I know Greg got that book somewhere behind him. But Bernard, let me read it for you. I know that book somewhere behind you, Greg. It really is an amazing book. But he was involved, y'all, with CORE, the Congress of Racial Equality. He was involved with SNCC. He, of course, and his parents forbade him from being involved in many of this. He was there in Montgomery, Alabama as well when the bus riders came and they were attacked. This brother here was in Selma. He was arrested in Jackson, Mississippi, and was there at that evil Parchman State Farm prison in Mississippi. He was beaten and arrested some 27 times. Again, he took a position with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, working with them in Selma, along with his then wife. Bernard Lafayette, one of those folks who put their life on the line, and Nola, I hate the fact that we were supposed to. There was a couple of times we were supposed to get down to Alabama to do an interview with Bernard. We had him on the show, so we had him on the show a few times. But I wanted to really do an in-depth interview like the one we did with Fred Gray. And this is one of the things, and I'm saying this to our people. Why when I ask people why they got to support our show. Because we don't have the resources of these other folks, and the ability to travel to do one interview is real costly. But we try to do as much as we can to get these stories on tape. And Bernard Lafayette was one of those folks. And day by day, we are losing those leaders. We're losing those folks. And I just think, Nola, this generation has to have an absolute full appreciation for who they are. He passes away today as they begin the Jubilee campaign in Selma. Of course, Bloody Sunday anniversary is on Sunday. But man, a huge loss losing Bernard Lafayette. And again, these folks, they were beaten, they were jailed, and they never gave up. That's why, Nola, I don't have patience when I listen to some folk today talk about how tired they are. I'm sorry. You can't be 28, 30, 35 talking about you tired when these folks were beaten and jailed and tormented, and they kept coming back.
That is very true. And I'm sure at some point they were tired too. I think rest is important. Just because you're tired doesn't mean that you're not going to get back up. But when you first mentioned it, my heart sank because the first thing I thought about was my dad. You know, I grew up on SNCC before I knew who Dr. King was or anyone. My dad was of the SNCC generation. And, you know, Rap Brown recently leaving and my dad's sick and Reverend Jackson is gone. We are losing giants. And all I can say before I just break all the way down in tears is, Roland, I'm just happy that we have you. That's all.
Brian, on the and I definitely know how you feel, Nola. And you know, as I sit here again, I was shocked when Jesse Jr. told me that because I would talk to Bernard. I would see him at these events, and man, we always had a great laugh. He was a really amazing brother. And one of the things that I'm reading right here, Brian, on the night Medgar Evers was assassinated. June 12, 1963. Bernard Lafayette was severely beaten by a white assailant, but he didn't stop working. And that's just the thing that I think we got to celebrate these folks. Carol, do me a favor. If you can grab Youssef, please. Get him, just if I can just ask him for a couple of minutes. Brian, they kept going. We are where we are because these people did not give up. They said, we are going to defeat Jim Crow, even if it means giving our life.
Yeah, I'm sorry for your loss too, there, Nola. I'm sorry to hear that, but I will say this, and you know, sincerely, I think the problem we have now are there are people that don't understand the pathway. They don't understand the people that have suffered and what real fight is, and what real work is, and determination. Like some people that are in power today, they're given life on a silver platter with a silver spoon in their mouth, and these are the same people that are attacking others. We could be talking about this man. We could be talking about somebody like John McCain, a POW who served this country honorably. And these are the kinds of people, their legacy should be celebrated. And instead, because of blatant narcissism, they're being attacked. So obviously, I have the utmost respect for this man. I have the utmost respect for Jesse Jackson and really anybody that and the atrocities that this man had to go through. I can't even imagine, right? I think about that every day. Not just our brave men and women in uniform, but people that have obviously paid the ultimate price. But like this story, man who was beaten senseless, but got back up, didn't give up. You know, I know that's kind of a cliche, but I think we have too many people in society today, younger people, they just give up when things get hard. And that's what I take from people like Jesse Jackson, from like this man who we just lost as well. And I take that with me to the bank, and I think about it every day, and I'm very grateful because if not for people like this, I wouldn't be on your show right now, and I wouldn't be able to make a living speaking my mind and being opinionated. We'd be living in a dictatorship. One could argue we could be headed in that direction right now. But regardless, you are right. I think she had just mentioned, your other guest had just mentioned, we're losing giants. Unfortunately, we are. But what does that mean? It means we need more Roland Martins out there. We need more people like him to step up and speak truth to power. And that's certainly what I respect about Roland, and that's what I respect about all these people that we've been talking about today.
All right, so folks, again, folks are coming. Yusef Jackson just came in, Reverend Jackson's son. Reverend Charles Jenkins of Fellowship, he's here. I just had Mignon Moore. She's going to speak to Yusef. We're going to try to get her back. She was one of the folks, of course, who worked with Reverend Jackson on the campaign, was always, at his side, working in many different ways. And so we're going to try to see and grab her in a second. As I said, folks are literally coming through here. I'm telling y'all, this is so hilarious to me, because being here, living here for 6 years in Chicago, you could be in this lobby, you could be in this Rainbow Push lobby, and you had no idea who the heck would walk through that door. You had no idea. It might be a world leader. It might be a U.S. senator. It might be a CEO. You never had any idea who would walk through that door. And I'm seeing young people coming here. Again, I'm seeing Muslims. I'm seeing Arab Americans. I'm seeing Latinos. Just all sorts of people. A young woman there in a hijab. I mean, again, that's understanding. People have to understand the reach of Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson Sr. and the people who he touched, all walks of life. So they're heading up to the multi-purpose room, the overflow. We're down here. The chapel is right next to us. And again, while this is happening, the Omegas are having the Omega service in there as well. And so what I'm going to do is, we're going to do this here. So Carol, do this here. Is that the live stream? Okay. All right, so guys, do this here. Go live right now, because they told me this wasn't going to be streamed, but now it is. So go live, please, to the MLK workshop. Let's get a live look of the Omega service. People are paying their respects to Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. And this is happening. This is happening right now. It's happening right now. This is happening right now. And so now while that's happening, this is a live shot of the lobby we are in. As you see, people are coming in here. They're coming here. People of all, I mean, look at this. People, in their work clothes, in their backpacks, and students. All these folks are coming in here. They're heading up. This is the Rainbow Push family. These are people who have been volunteers. These are people who have been workers. You see they're signing up at the desk, all coming here to pay their respects to Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson Sr. Folks, we're going to go to a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Kristi Noem, Ice Barbie. She needs a job. That's next right here. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Science under attack. I want to keep you and your family informed and healthy. I'm Dr. Ebony Hilton, and I knew at the age of 8 that I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied hard and became the first African-American female anesthesiologist hired at the Medical University of South Carolina since its opening in 1824. And I always say I was made into a doctor, but I was born to be a mom. And as a new mom, wife, sister, daughter, and friend, I understand how frightening a medical crisis can be. I care for individuals on some of the worst days of their lives, and it's my mission to provide you with a safe space to gain clarity on issues affecting your mind, body, and soul. I recognize that there are health disparities, particularly as it pertains to race, and I want to help bridge the gap between you and your healthcare providers. Join me every Thursday for Second Opinion on the Black Star Network, where each week I'll invite experts from various medical fields to share the latest health news. We'll discuss topics such as the vaccine debate, mental and sexual health, medical bias, infertility, menopause, andropause, nutrition, and aging. Together with my medical colleagues, we aim to provide you with a second opinion. Don't miss it, Thursdays only on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Swain Cash, Basketball Hall of Famer, and you're watching Black Star Network.
All right, folks, let's talk about what's coming news out of D.C. Ice Barbie Kristi Noem is out of a job. After her disastrous testimony the last 48 hours, Donald Trump essentially fired her today, replacing her with a U.S. Senator from Oklahoma. It really was a brutal hearing. This was Noem speaking in her last news conference as Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, becoming the first Trump cabinet member to resign.
Now, in his State of the Union address just last week, President Trump reminded us of what it is every American's duty to do, and that is to serve the American people. That's what the government is to do, those elected officials and those that step up into public service, is to fulfill our duty to protect American citizens, that they should come first under our Constitution and our laws, and they should be prioritized, and especially over other people who are from other countries. The Constitution demands that we treat our citizens that way, and the men and women who serve at the Department of Homeland Security, they understand the importance of that, and we also understand the importance of all of our law enforcement officers and what they do across the country to keep people safe.
Folks, as I said, the testimony yesterday, Ben, it was brutal in Congress. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett tore into Gnome. Check this out.
Madam Secretary, you are almost to the end, so congratulations. I just have a couple of questions. Are you aware that the law that was written by this Congress makes it clear that members of Congress are allowed to, entitled to enter any detention?
Representative Crockett, I apologize. I have to run to vote in another committee, Secretary, and Mr. Schmidt will chair, and you will get extra 15 seconds, but I apologize for that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much
Mr.
for your
Chairman.
testimony.
Appreciate it.
Are you aware that the law makes it clear that members of Congress are allowed to enter any detention facility at any point in time in which they choose to?
Yes, I'm aware of the visitation and oversight responsibility, and we work every day to try to accommodate members of Congress while taking into account the safety of those individuals that are being detained
be clear.
there.
At any time, correct?
Yes, I understand there's litigation in this area.
No, that's not my question. I'm not asking you about litigation.
No.
I'm asking you what the law is, because let me put it to you this way.
There's an appropriations rider that talks about
correct,
oversight.
and appropriations are law, because you are asking us to appropriate dollars right now for DHS, correct?
Correct.
And if we do that, you would take that as law, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that is what the law states, yet somehow myself and another colleague, Congressman Castro, we ended up giving a 7-day notice to the Dilley detention facility because I had actually already gone to El Paso before. And when I went to that facility and I asked them why it was that they were requiring me to do something that specifically my branch of government had dictated was not required, they said it was because of you. They said you were the one that said that they were not allowed to allow us entry unless we gave a 7 days heads up. Is that true?
Yeah. The law specifically states oversight and visitations, and we are working to facilitate those, and we're at that time working
Did you give the instruction that members must give a 7 days heads up or not?
We had a policy in place that allowed us to get
Were you the one that ordered that policy?
I have a responsibility for ensuring everybody in that facility is going to be safe, and that I have adequate
no, but that's not my question, because the problem, let me tell you why we need to, reclaiming my time. The reason that I'm talking to you about this policy and you're talking to me about safety is because I did go into the Dilley detention facility. And let me tell you, they're not safe. This is why we need to conduct oversight, because your people continue. In fact, you have lost more lives in detention than anybody else. That is your record right now. So I don't expect that y'all are going to be the ones that are going to be best to keep them safe. This is why we are supposed to conduct oversight and not wait for you to give permission. In fact, after I left the Dilley facility, we were informed of a measles outbreak that was taking place in that facility. And another question I have, are you the one that ordered it to be reopened, because that facility was closed under Joe Biden?
Those facilities were opened with the new administration. I'd have to look and see.
You're part of the new administration. Were you the one that ordered it to be open is my question.
I would have to see when it was opened, because I wasn't sworn in until 5 days after.
Okay, well, it was reopened in March.
I would have to look at when
it was reopened in March of last year.
Well, then I'm sure that contract would have been renewed while I was secretary.
Speaking of contracts, as I have actually, you know what, let me continue on this line of, y'all breaking the law. Are you familiar with a child by the name of Liam Ramos?
I am.
All right, so Liam was at this Dilley facility, and it just so happened that we had put in our 7 days notice, and y'all had grabbed him 6 days prior to our visit. So we were able to go and visit Liam. Are you aware of the court order that came down that released Liam from custody?
I am.
And are you aware that the judge said the case has its genesis in an ill-conceived and incompetently implemented government pursuit of daily deportation quotas, apparently even if it requires traumatizing children? This court and others regularly send undocumented people to prison and orders them deported, but do so by proper legal procedures. Are you aware of that?
Yes, and I would disagree with the judge on several
I'm sure you
points
would, but can you tell me whether or not you have a law degree?
Father chose to.
Can you tell me whether or not you have a law degree?
If I have what?
A law degree.
No, I do not have a law degree.
Okay, and you do understand, because I can go through a bunch of court cases and orders that I disagree with from the Supreme Court, that ultimately, that is the order of the court. That is what you follow, and if you have an issue, you appeal it up, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. The court went on to say, apparent also is the government's ignorance of an American historical document called the Declaration of Independence. 33-year-old Thomas Jefferson enumerated grievances against a would-be authoritarian king over his nascent nation. Among others were, he has sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people. He has excited domestic insurrection among us, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us. He has kept us among, in times of peace, standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. Are you aware that he wrote that? Do you know that he was writing about ICE that falls under you?
The judge?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. With that, I will yield, but I do have 2 UCs. The first UC is ICE training was slashed, records show corroborating whistleblower claims from the Washington Post on yesterday.
Without objection.
The second one is FEMA's response to Texas flood slowed by Gnome's cost controls. This is out of CNN from July 10th of 2025.
Without objection.
Thank you so much.
So I think the next line of question is why she got fired. So she was jammed, Colorado Representative Joe Nagase and others jammed her up about this $200 million advertising contract that went to a company that was only incorporated 8 days before it was awarded. Now, when she testified before the Senate, she said Trump was fully aware of the contract. One of those senators called Trump. He said, no, he wasn't. Now, we know he will lie about a lie, but I think after that questioning on Tuesday in the Senate, and then yesterday in the House, is why Kristi Noem had to go. This is Nagase. Watch this.
Good afternoon, Madam Secretary. Thank you for being here. I want to discuss in greater detail the expansion of advertising in your department under your tenure, and I believe you testified regarding some of these matters yesterday in front of the United States Senate. In particular, I want to discuss the department's $220 million ad campaign. This is the ad campaign that featured you at Mount Rushmore. You're familiar with this ad campaign, correct?
I am familiar with it. It was an ad campaign that was.
I'm going to ask you some questions about it, Madam Secretary. So, as I understand it, this is a $220 million ad campaign. It's split between 2 contractors. One of those contractors got $143 million. That contractor is called Safe America Media, correct?
Correct.
Okay. That company is affiliated with a former political director of the National Republican Congressional Committee. Now, yesterday you testified, I think I'm quoting you right, you said, quote, or in reference to this contract, that, quote, it went out to a competitive bid. Do you stand by that statement?
It was a no-bid contract where 2 vendors were. It
was a no-bid contract.
If it would have been a no-bid contract, if I'm using that correctly, it goes out to 2 different vendors.
Correct. So it was not a competitive. Let me try to explain what the discrepancy, because a competitive bid is very different than a no competitive bid, and I'll just explain why. We know that your testimony yesterday, when you said, again, I'll quote, it went out to a competitive bid, is untrue. The reason we know it's untrue is because under federal law, your agency is required, whenever the agency decides to skip competitive bidding, to file a notice with the public explaining why. And in this case, your agency filed a notice. You're aware of that, right? Justification and approval for other than full and open competition. Your agency made a decision not to proceed with competitive bidding, and one of the contractors that got the award was this Safe America Media Company that received $143 million.
Many vendors got the chance to look at that contract and to participate in it. So that is why the two of them were chosen.
That's inaccurate, Madam Secretary. I'll read from the notice from your agency. Given the immediate action to significantly reduce illegal immigration and border crossings, DHS identified 4 companies. 4 of the hundreds of thousands of companies in the United States, you identified 4. One of those is this Safe America Media Company. Where is Safe America Media headquartered?
I don't know.
I don't know either, Madam Secretary. We can't find it. We can't find a website. We did find an address that's registered for this company. Do you know where that address is?
Is there a problem with this contract?
I'll tell you about it.
According to
Madam
law,
Secretary, the
address
is registered to a political operative. Madam Secretary, the company, and then I'll give you an opportunity to respond. The company is registered to a political operative in Virginia. Do you know, just by way of example, whether this company that received $143 million in taxpayer dollars, has it ever done work for the government before?
I don't know. I can't.
The answer is it has not. And do you know why we know that? Because it was incorporated 8 days before this contract went out. You want the American people to believe that this is all above board? Yes, that $143 million of taxpayer money just happened to go to this one company that doesn't have a headquarters, doesn't have a website, has never done work for the federal government before, and is registered apparently or attached to a residence from a political operative. And of course, one of the subcontractors of that contract, as you know, is a political firm that's tied to you back when you were governor of South Dakota. The reason why I ask these questions is that this is taxpayer money. And I presume, I don't know this for a fact, but Senator Tillis noted yesterday the way in which your agency is blocking the Inspector General from 11 different investigations that it is trying to conduct. I don't know if this happens to be one of them. I certainly hope it is, because eventually the facts will become public in this regard. And there are serious laws implicated, conflict of interest laws, federal procurement laws, that I believe
followed, all done correctly, all done legally.
All done correctly.
14 billion impressions from that marketing campaign.
Sure.
It was money spent in this country and in 8 different countries that illegal migration was coming from.
Madam Secretary,
overwhelmingly effective.
We all understand the argument that you've made. That somehow this ad campaign on Fox News of you at Mount Rushmore has led to millions of people self-deporting. You're using millions of dollars of taxpayer money in this way. It is fraud, and ultimately, I think there's going to be accountability. And I yield back, Bill.
Can I speak to the IG?
Yes, you can. Quick.
The IG has been told repeatedly, in writing, verbally, on the phone, that he can have access to anything at the Department of Homeland Security. He can. He doesn't need my permission to come and brief members of Congress on the Hill. He just needs to provide a scoping memo, which is what every single IG gets from every single department and agency. All intelligence agencies require a scoping memo. He just hasn't done that. He wants unfettered access to every single thing in the department, and that's not the process, and that's not any other IG has demanded that.
Man, y'all know she was lying. Now, this is when it got real ugly. Congresswoman Sidney Kamlager-Dove went there. Watch.
Have a close relationship that has made President Trump, quote, uncomfortable. The president reportedly denounced Corey Lewandowski as your chief of staff due to reports of a romantic relationship between the two of you. So instead, you designated him as a special government and employee, a position he has had well beyond the allowed 130 days and requires him to disclose if he is making money off of his position. Trump knows that this guy is shady. Corey has a decades-long record of physical battery, sexual harassment, illegal lobbying for a Venezuelan oil company, and bringing a loaded gun into a federal building. Despite being fired or removed from virtually every position he has ever held due to misconduct, he now wields unchecked, unconfirmed, undisclosed power over your department. This person has no experience running anything close to Department of Homeland Security or even advising someone in your position. He is unqualified, which again has left my constituents and I wondering why he is your top official. So Secretary Noem, at any time during your tenure as Director of Department of Homeland Security, have you had sexual relations with Corey Lewandowski?
Mr. Chairman, I am shocked that we're going down and peddling tabloid garbage in this committee today.
Reclaiming my
ma'am,
time.
one thing that I would tell you is that he is a special government employee who works for the White House. There are thousands of them in the federal government.
So reclaiming
and
my
is an
time,
advisor
Secretary, it is
and has
okay for
no,
you to be
no
offended
authority
by
to
the
be
question.
making any
it
decisions.
It is okay for you to
has
be
no
offended
authority
by the
to
question.
be making
but it
decisions
is also
and
a
putting
real
up your
question.
position. So what I would say
and
to
you should be able to
is
answer
that
the question.
what we do at the Department of Homeland Security every single
and without
day,
any hesitation,
every single day is to protect
if
this
someone
country
is
and
asking
to make
if
decisions.
you or any federal official is sleeping with their subordinate, that should be the easiest. You should be wanting to answer that question.
Is garbage?
Because it is not about
It is
your sex
offensive
life.
that you have brought
It is
that up.
about your judgment.
That kind of garbage
It is
has
about
been refuted
reclaiming
for
my
years,
time so
and
that
you
I
need
can
to
hear myself.
recognize-
Time belongs to the gentlelady from California, but it'd be nice if you would let her respond.
I will. I want to let you know it is about your judgment and decision-making. It is about the 260,000 employees that work under you that want to make sure that you are giving information and making decisions clearly. It is about conflict of interest. It is about a national security risk. Department of Homeland Security was created right after 9/11 to protect the homeland. And DHS has circulated an internal bulletin to law enforcement partners warning that the conflict of the war we're in could inspire lone actors or small-scale cyber activity inside the United States, according to a memo obtained by ABC News. So American lives are at risk. The people who work for you are at risk. And they want to know that the person at the top, you, are making decisions clearly, without any sort of cloudiness, and that they're your decisions because you're the secretary who was confirmed. That's what this is about. Saving the lives of Americans and not costing them millions of dollars and not having a secretary who's compromised in her decision-making. And Mr. Chair, before I yield my time, I would like to enter into the record some articles, and I'm asking for unanimous consent. Gnome tightens her grip on DHS. Lewandowski fired FEMA admin.
Without
while sitting
objection.
Okay. The next one is Kristi Noem secretly took a cut of political donations from ProPublica.
Without objection.
Kristi Noem fires pilot over a blanket, but is forced to reinstate him to fly home. Wall Street Journal.
Without objection.
Lewandowski taking out trash at Noem's D.C. home. Daily Beast.
Without objection.
Barbie's Mile High privacy chamber with alleged lover exposed. Wall Street Journal, how Corey Lewandowski became Kristi Noem's gatekeeper at DHS.
Without objection.
A pilot fired over Kristi Noem's missing blanket and the constant chaos inside DHS.
Without
Wall
objection.
Street Journal. Police charged Trump campaign manager with assault. PBS News.
Without objection.
Woman who accused Corey Lewandowski of assault speaks out. I don't want this to happen to anyone else. CBS News. Lewandowski's firm quietly inked deal with Venezuela-owned company Politico.
Without objection.
List of U.S. cities raising security amid Iran conflict. Newsweek.
Without objection.
Kristi Noem, I have a few more, I'm sorry. Kristi Noem misled Congress yesterday about top aides' role in DHS contracts.
Without objection.
Policy number 10271 from ICE, it is an anti-fraternization policy prohibiting romantic or sexual relationships between supervisors and their subordinates. And with that, I yield.
Without objection.
All right, y'all, I got to play one more. So Congresswoman Dove's seatmate is Congressman Jared Moskowitz. he didn't let up.
Now, I want to give you an opportunity to answer on the record to Ms. Camlager-Dove's question. I know you said it's garbage, and it may be, but I really think you need to say the word no into the record so that you can clear that up.
I think the ridiculousness of this and the tabloids that you are quoting and referencing are insane. And this has been something that I've refuted for years, and I continue to do that.
So it's a
no.
no.
I would tell you is
we
when
can move on.
Hold
Hold on, Madam Senator, we can move on. I'm not going to belabor it. If it's
this is what you do.
Hold on, I'm not doing anything.
Liberal left is you go off and you attack conservative women and you say that we're either stupid
I haven't
or
said
we're
anything.
sluts.
All right, so listen.
And that's what you do.
Yesterday, Richard, reclaiming my time, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, reclaiming my time.
And Nola, today she got fired.
She sure did. But wait a minute. When you played that first clip, only her lips were moving. Like, I don't. Okay, anyway. But yes, she got fired while she was on stage. And so Donald Trump does what he always does. He loves a good humiliation, baby. And so everything that I'm seeing from people who are celebrating up and down the timeline, they're saying that the dog let her know that he did it, the dog that she murdered. But anyway, but seriously, this is very serious. And I'm so happy that Jasmine Crockett really leaned into this corruption angle. Last night, I was at a foreign policy dinner and Senator Chris Murphy was our guest. And one of the things that we've been talking a lot about in these kind of informal settings is the idea of corruption. And my really good friend, who's the CEO over at the Center for International Policy, wrote this really good paper about corruption. And it's been circulating because this is definitely something that, the American people have been shouting loudly about accountability, accountability, accountability. What does that look like? And how do you go after it? And it's about leaning into the blanket, naked corruption that this regime, that we hear about every single day. And it just seems that nothing will be done, that nothing can be done. And it's exhausting all of us, because it literally looks like these people can get away whatever they want to do. I mean, case in point, she may be losing this job, but from what I understand, she's going to be a special envoy, which means she's still going to be getting a paycheck. You know what I mean? So where does this end? So I'm happy that corruption is really front and center, because accountability needs to come yesterday. These people just run roughshod over the American public. And to the Congresswoman from California's point, this really is a national security risk, because so much is going on internally. We have our eyes off the ball in many different directions. And when the main story about the one who's leading DHS is about face fillers and her wigs, we're not moving in the right direction, folks. This is not about keeping us safe at all. So we're moving in the wrong direction. And I'm happy that Jasmine Crockett leaned all the way into the corruption angle.
Brian, it was laughable to sit there as she tried to lie herself. This $200 million contract, absolute corruption. I mean, these people are butt naked when it comes to their corruption.
Roland, I have a lot to say about this. Let me first start by saying she didn't answer that question about Corey Lewandowski, because the answer is obviously yes. So the puppy dog cosplay killer, Kristi Noem, did not get fired by Donald Trump because of people getting murdered in the streets, because of her ICE thugs wearing masks, murdering people. She didn't get fired because of her incompetence. Make no mistake about it. The only reason why she got fired is because she made Donald Trump look bad, asked about the $220 million ad campaign. That's the only reason why Donald Trump fired her. She is incompetent. She's a liar. This is a disgraceful woman, and she is an absolute disgrace, and probably has an IQ of about 40. She is the woman who called Alex Preddy a domestic terrorist hours after Preddy was murdered, hours after Renee Good was murdered. She called her a domestic terrorist, wouldn't apologize, even though we know that that was a lie then, and it's a lie now. She wouldn't apologize to the families because she has zero moral compass. He is also corrupt. That $144 million deal, we know why she did that. Complete corruption. Are we supposed to be led to believe oh, this company was made 8 days before that deal and everything is completely legit. No, the chickens are going to come home to roost. Now, yes, the problem we have here is, unlike Marjorie Taylor Greene, when she learned that Donald Trump wasn't going to endorse her, and then she started trashing him because she had nothing to lose. Kristi Noem is not going to start trashing Donald Trump and turning on him because, as just mentioned on your panel, she still has a job in the Trump administration, which is mind-blowing. It's also mind-blowing that Corey Lewandowski, who is a woman abuser, in my opinion, just like Pete Hegseth, has a paid job. He's getting paid to work for the government. It's mind-blowing to me, not to mention this private jet that cost the American taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars with that nice little bedroom in there. I'm sure that Kristi Noem and Lewandowski had some fun in there as well. The bottom line is this is a despicable human being. She is a thug. She is a racist. She's taken people's First Amendment rights away, Third Amendment, Fourth Amendment rights away, completely incompetent, should have never been in this position in the first place. But again, I go back to what I said earlier. This is really important. Donald Trump did not fire her because of the job she didn't do or because of what was going on with ICE or her lack of leadership or incompetence. The only reason why Donald Trump fired her is because she made him look bad with an answer, and maybe the only time she was telling the truth under oath, that Donald Trump approved the $220 million that they had to spend with this advertising campaign, which did absolutely nothing, by the way, because we see her on a horse somewhere or in a cowboy hat. We should all of a sudden say, let's forget about all those ICE thugs out there that are murdering people on the streets, that are attacking brown people. Let's forget about that because Kristi Noem in some commercial that cost the taxpayers millions of dollars somehow, oh, it's okay now because I saw Kristi Noem in a commercial looking like the clown that she is. Roland, I'm so angry at this situation and so many others, but she is so unqualified. She is such a moron, and she's such an embarrassment to this country, and she's a liar. And in my opinion, she belongs in jail.
Greg, the corruption has no end. And, I mean, can you imagine, Greg, imagine this here. Imagine Joe Biden in the White House or Obama, and they decide to give me a $143 million contract for a company that's registered at a residential home started 8 days before. Not a single Republican. They would be losing their minds on Fox News, conservative talk radio, but these people don't care. They embrace, support the rabid corruption of these thugs. I said they were going to rape and pillage the country, and this ad campaign, it was not only to enrich her friends, it also was to put money in the pockets of conservative media, because those commercials didn't run anywhere else but conservative media.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Roland. They are purebred thieves. Forget $143 million. They'd come after you for $1,438. It wouldn't matter. These people, as you said, they're racists, they're sexist, they're misogynists. Donald Trump did not win the presidency in 2016, despite saying you can grab women by the private parts. He won because he said it. Let's just drop all the pretenses and get down to business. First of all, when Kristi Noem said, you think women are stupid, you think they're sluts, she's absolutely right, except the people who think that are the ones that are employing her, First of all, $200 million, that ain't no money. Let's just get to the real stealing. The crypto king, Steve Witkoff, with his friend Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, with the dead man suit, shaking down everybody for billions, the Saudi sovereign funds, and all of that money that they're stealing, which is why they're over in Iraq, gonna shake them down after they shook down Venezuela. Let's talk about Doug Burnham, who's in Venezuela, talking in Caracas with Rodriguez now as they build a portfolio after this white woman speaking Spanish who gave up her damn Nobel Prize to Trump is saying she's coming back to Venezuela. They're gonna try to take Rodriguez out. But it's all about the oil. It's all about the minerals. $200 million, first of all, ain't no money. The stuff that's going on with AI at the Department of Defense, the shakedown of the Ellison family who are shaking down mass media now so Paramount can swallow Warner and add CNN to the portfolio. Kristi Noem ain't stole no money. She a little white woman in a little world where they hate women. But let's get to the central point that we're talking about right now. Not only did she not lose her position in the federal government, she got promoted. The special envoy to the Shield of Americas is 13 heads of state in Latin America, from Latin America, who are meeting me in Miami over the weekend. And she's the one that's supposed to be the U.S. representative of the Don Road Doctrine. Do you know what that means? If you hated what she did in Minneapolis, if you hated what she's done on the streets of the United States, they just put her over doing it for the whole damn hemisphere. Let's be crystal clear. They playing in our faces, finally. Mark Wayne Mullen. I think, do you know why Mark Wayne Mullen is going to be nominated? You know why he's going to take over March 31st? Because Trump likes them big, burly, wrestling-ass white boys. This is a former MMA fighter. He'll probably be with his shirt off on July 4th wrestling on the White House lawn. This the man that tried to snatch that sign out of Al Green's hand. This the man a couple of years ago that tried to fight the president of the Teamsters. This is a brain-dead meathead who will have no problem getting up in everybody's face, balling up his fist, and boy, Donald Trump, as his body dissolves in front of us, as his homoerotic incel spirit clings to this notion of dying white masculinity. This the kind of man he loves. Kristi Noem got promoted today, and Mark Wayne Mullen is going to continue with business as usual. Although if I'm Kristi Noem's husband, boy, that thing he swallowed as he sat there and they gave it to her right there in his face. My God, Byron Noem, I'd say I'm sorry for you, but I'm not. It was pure comedy.
Ice Barbie. No longer Department of Homeland Security Secretary. Y'all going to a break. We come back. Black Star Network headlines with Brittany Noble, plus more interviews here as we are here broadcasting live in Chicago at the Rainbow Push National Headquarters as folks are gathering here as we speak. Literally right next door, the Rainbow Push alumni are having a big meet and greet here in the chapel and also upstairs as well. Swing around there, get a shot of that. And so we come back. We'll chat with some of them right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Decade of love, joy, and power. Black Voters Matter is 10 years old, and we are just getting started. This is love with a purpose. This is Black joy in motion. This is unstoppable power. Across campuses, neighborhoods, and back roads. Let's go! We show up, not just to vote, but to be seen, to be heard, to belong. We ride together. We organize together. We remind each other that our voices matter because they always have. Black Voters Matter is about more than ballots. It's about housing and healthcare, clean water and living wages, education, reproductive freedom, and dignity. It's about turning pain into action, turning belief into movement, turning community into power. We don't wait to be invited. We bring the energy. We bring the love. We bring the people. Because when Black communities come together, we don't just survive, we thrive. This is how change happens. This is how history moves. We organize, we build, we win.
How you doing? I'm Mark Curry, and you're watching the Black Star Network. That's why I got these glasses on, because that black star is bright.
Folks, we're back here at Rainbow Push headquarters as they're having the family reunion here of all the folks who worked with Reverend Jackson, the people who were by his side, folks who were on the road with him, answered the phones here, volunteered, worked on the campaigns. Mignon Moore is one of those folks. You never see Mignon. She's always the one behind the scenes. She was the one putting together the whole DNC convention in 2024. First time you connected with Reverend Jackson?
Actually, it was in the 80s. I came down here to interview Reverend Jackson, ironically. I was doing a paper at school, When Blacks Become Mainstream, Do They Lose Their Identity? And I came down here every Saturday hoping to land that interview with my classmates, and we eventually did.
You in high school?
No, I was in college. It was a college paper. And then
So you came down every week. How long?
It was a couple of weeks because, you know, he was at the height of his popularity, and you got these little students wanting to interview him. But we interviewed Reverend Barrow first.
Reverend Willie Barrow, who was about 3 inches shorter than you. That was a short, tough sister.
Little warrior. And we interviewed her, and then she said she set up an interview with the Reverend, and she did. And then that led to, y'all need to come down here and volunteer for me. And so the rest is history.
Talk about that because, again, so this is what they call the family reunion. So many people, and I was telling people earlier, I mean, black folks, Latinos, whites, Arab Americans, Muslims, all kind of folk. I don't think people really understand. They may think, okay, Southside Chicago, black folks. No, the rainbow part was real.
It was very real. And I actually, in 1988, I had the privilege of going on a lot of these journeys with Reverend Jackson when he was going to campaign in Appalachia, when he was campaigning with farmers. And I would
with Willie Nelson?
Yep. And I keep saying to myself, why? Why is he going to see those folks? But then it occurred to me that those people have lives too. And he said something that was really important to us one day. He said, if we all put a bag over our head and we all say that we're hungry and we turn the lights out, you don't know who's hungry. And that opened my eyes to the coalition he was trying to build, because he saw everybody and he saw the pain in everybody. And to this day, I often wonder who actually speaks for those coalitions that he built so many years ago.
Also on the political side, you were very much involved in that. You've been knee-deep in Democratic politics. Again, I think the everyday person has no idea the number of opportunities that created consultants, pollsters, strategists, media, up and down. He really broke apart the cabal in the Democratic Party and said, you've got to make this inclusive.
Not only did he break the ball, he allowed us the opportunity to get to the table and to learn what the others do. I mean, that's why we have a Roland Martin, because Roland Martin was able to sit with his white counterparts, learn everything he learned, and look what he's doing now. He's streaming across the nation for our people. But, you know, all of those skills that I learned when I was sitting at these tables, I was able to go in these rooms and compete with them. And that's all he wanted us to do. But the main thing he wanted us to do was not leave us out once we got in the room. And he wanted us to take our values with us. And that's what we did. We took our values with us, and, you know, we tried to make sure our people was always represented.
See, I think that part is important because you know and I know it's a lot of folk who benefited from his work who didn't hold that door open for other black folk.
True. I mean, that happens all the time. It happens today. But the one thing I can say for sure, that if you really understood Reverend Jackson's value system, if you understood what he fought for, then you would be a part of his real movement. And his real movement was to swing the door wide open. When you get to the table, don't close the door behind you. Make sure you're bringing other people behind you. And that's why you see, in politics in particular, we have more political operatives because we keep swinging the door wide open. You know, people often talk about what the color girls do. Well, one of the things that we learned from Reverend Jackson, the Rainbow Push, is to make sure we bring people along behind us so that they can sit at those tables. The only thing we don't want them to do is forget the people that brought them. I mean, you know, listen, you don't have to bring us. We already at the table, but then that's your turn to bring somebody else. Don't get in there and just forget everybody.
Last question. Think back to the Civil Rights Movement. Dr. King was a great brother, but let's be clear, it was mostly brothers around him. Dorothy Cotton was really the only woman in the inner sanctum. People also have no clue, and we discussed this a couple of weeks ago, the number of women who got to be able to be in leadership positions and as a result of Reverend Jackson.
I said this yesterday to a person, in this very building, when I walked through the doors as a young person, I got to meet Mrs. Jackson, I got to meet Mrs. Lohman, I got to meet Reverend Barrow, I got to meet Betty Magnus, I got to meet Reverend Jeanette Wilson. All of these women have paved the way, and people think that, those of us who came after them were the ones that caused Reverend Jackson to open the door for women. No. He had strong women around him, and the reason why he could open the door, because they would say, make sure you got women at the table. And I just read this, and it's a beautiful article on Dr. Dorothy Height, how the quiet force of Dr. Height changed the civil rights movement. I mean, I think we still have a lot of work to do, but he was real clear. Women should be at the table. It wasn't no folding chair. It was a hard seat, and we loved every minute of it, and I hope we've made him proud.
Absolutely. Well, it really has been great. Listen, we certainly miss him physically, but people, if they were here, will understand it's actually joyous. I wasn't here last week as they had at the Lying-in State, but people, first of all, he wouldn't want no sad funeral anyway.
Lord, that music tomorrow is going to be off the chain. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be celebratory, and it's going to be gospel. What he loved, and I think we're gonna go to church tomorrow.
And last, it's gonna be black.
Well,
in fact, when John H. Johnson died, I remember we were here on Saturday, and Reverend Jackson, he led a funeral. He said, and let's be clear, he said it's gonna be a black funeral. The casket will be present. He said, ain't gonna be a photo on the easel.
Oh, well, that's the new way to do it. Tomorrow we're going back to the old landmark.
Yes.
All right.
All right, Mignon, I appreciate it. We're going to chat with Janice Mathis in a second. Janice Mathis actually was running Rainbow Push Economic Division in Atlanta. And I'm going to quickly go to my panel before I bring in Janice here. That point made there, Nola, again, people have no clue the number of women who were involved in Rainbow Push from the beginning, present day. That is not a natural thing when you have organizations led by Baptist preachers.
Well, I mean, true, but also there is such a long history of women, being in the background. But to your point and everyone else's point about Rainbow Coalition, that is a very special thing, right? It's for everyone. It's for common struggle. So it makes sense to me in an environment like that it's going to be a lot of women, especially when you're bringing different cultures and groups together that have more of a matriarchal kind of way of doing community and organizing. It makes a lot of sense to me. And I am so happy that you just talked to Mignon, because you were so right. This woman is at every meeting, whether it's like a local meeting or a regional thing or a national thing. I am so happy that you just spotlighted her, because the work that this woman does behind the scenes, people need to know her name. So I'm just so happy that you gave her that moment. But, women, we historically have been in all of these spaces. And I'm really grateful to Reverend Jackson that he understood the assignment in terms of what women are capable of doing. And, when we come to the table and it's time to organize and it's time to get things done, we get it done. So I'm so happy to see Mignon spotlighted like that. And I got to go.
Greg, I know you got to go. Nola, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Greg, you were shaking your head as it happened. And so literally what's happening in the chapel right over here, it is jam-packed, y'all. And so they're taking a family reunion photo. I don't know, Antoine, turn the camera just to get a glimpse of it. See if you could try to zoom in as well. But like I say, it is jam-packed in there. These are folks who have known Reverend going back 50 plus years, people who are 40, 30, 20, 10 year, who have come through here, grew up here. These people were coming here every single Saturday. All the different campaigns, y'all, Reverend was always leading some protest. He was always leading some action. These were the people who he leaned on. And so he had his, obviously, Greg, he had his personal family, but his Rainbow Push Coalition family was just as important.
Brother, when Mignon Moore said that music gonna be off the chain, I see they going into the Clay Evans Chapel. I can think of Clay Evans' version of I Won't Complain, and since Stevie Wonder gonna be singing, I can only hope that he'll do a version of Clay Evans' I Won't Complain, because he did it at Ira Tucker's funeral in Philadelphia, brother, from the great gospel world. That's going to be something. And you're right, that convening, and I agree with Nola, you know, these movements are largely women. The Black Panthers was majority female. People don't know that. SNCC, for example, and again, Bernard Lafayette, that hits hard. I knew his then wife, Colia Lafayette, then Colia Clark. She helped us put together Philadelphia Freedom Schools, a true warrior. But SNCC, you talking about Black women, Marimba Ani now, you know, Donna Moses. I mean, you go through the list, Joyce and Dory Ladner. So it's not only not an anomaly, that's how Black people organize. Now, that patriarchy can absolutely and has absolutely been a problem. But Black women will let you know when, okay, you done huffed and puffed. Now let's get down to business. And Jesse Louis Jackson's ego was huge, but what was huger was his character. In other words, I know when to be who I am in all my fullness, and I know when to move in the rhythm with everybody else. Roland, I mean, again, I just can't convey the depth of meaning and how meaningful it is for you to be there in this moment to capture even a hint of this, because it isn't just about Jesse Jackson, but through the lens of Jackson, you know what we see? We see who people are. We see who African people are. We see who Black people are to each other. And that is a lesson for the whole world, regardless of where people come from. But yeah, man, I just hope they get off one of them good old I can't complains, brother. Somebody gonna run up out that church before it's over.
Yes, of course, Paul Jones, who was from Houston, of course, that was his song. You know, Brian. I said this earlier. I mean, it is amazing to stand in this lobby. They've got the wreaths over here. Come on, Antoine. They got the wreaths over here that to my right. Of course, I'm standing in front of this bust of Reverend Jackson that was dedicated on February 11th, 1986. This picture here on the wall, of course, Reverend when he was wearing his big medallion, his afro here as well in the 70s. And when I see all the people coming through here, I mean, of course, and again, you know, Brian, I only spent 6 years here. I was here 2010. I was here 2010 to 2000, and I'm sorry, 2004, 2010. And it was crazy. Again, there were people who I met here who were here 70s, 80s, and 90s. Folk who go back, and the kids, they were putting the work in. They were putting the work in. And that's what it was all about. It was about the work.
Chicago is a wonderful place. I've spent plenty of time there. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people, particularly people who look like me, unfortunately, on the right, which I'm not on, who all they want to talk about when it comes to Chicago is black on black crime. And it drives me crazy. It's really important that you're there. And I think it's also extremely important for people that look like me to understand the legacy, to understand the pathways of other people that were brought up differently, that don't look like me. And of course, people like Mr. Jackson and what they have accomplished, what they have done, not just for people that are African Americans and minorities, but for people who look like me as well. I just think it's so important. I think it's great that you're out there. Frankly, like I said, I wish I was out there with you. And I just think, the legacy will live on forever. More people need to be educated on not just what Martin Luther King Jr. did, but what the Jesse Jacksons have done just for society in general. I just think it's really important. He'll always be a hero and an icon. And that's the way I will always remember him as. And we certainly can't forget that. So I'm glad you're out there spreading the word. And I think it's really important, particularly even for younger people. younger people learning. We know that there's a lot of people, again, on the right that want to erase the history books. They don't want to teach our kids about slavery or what minorities and black people had to go through years ago. I'm not one of those people. I think we all need to be educated, especially people that look like me. And Roland, you're doing a great job, and I'm glad you're out there.
Well, I'm certainly glad to be out here as well. Folks, let's do this real quick. First of all, let me do this here. Let me thank Brian. Let me thank Greg for being on today's show. It is really great to have y'all here. Nola had to leave as well, so I appreciate your commentary, appreciate your words as well, folks. Thank you so very much. Let me do this here. Let me go to Black Star Network headlines with Brittany Noble.
The North Las Vegas City Council approved a $1.2 million settlement for a deaf black woman who sued the city and its police department following a 2021 traffic stop. Andrea Dre Hollingsworth was pulled over with her twin daughters in the back seat in April of 21. The officer, Michael Rose, handcuffed her for allegedly not following orders, even though she could not hear them. Body cam footage shows Hollingsworth repeatedly trying to explain that she could not hear, pointing to her ears. She says Rose refused to let her communicate through writing or sign language. He then ignored her and her children, pulling her out of the car and eventually forcing her to the ground, pressing her knee into her back while handcuffing her. The lawsuit claims Rose violated Hollingsworth's Fourth Amendment right and 14th, the Americans with Disabilities Act right. The suit detailed how the officer's refusal to accommodate her deafness caused physical and emotional harm, also while traumatizing her children. She was released with no charges. 2 Ann Arbor Smoothie King employees are out of a job after they refused to service a man and his wife because the husband was wearing a Donald Trump sweatshirt. Cell phone video captured the incident, showing a tense exchange between the couple identified as Erica and Jake Lindemeyer and the staff members, which quickly spread across social media. Well, the Smoothie King, a Texas-based company, cut ties, posting an X message saying, following an investigation into the incident, the franchise owner has taken immediate action and the 2 employees involved are no longer with the business. Well, the House is set to vote on a measure today to block President Trump from taking further military action against Iran without congressional support. It comes a day after a similar effort fell short in the Senate. The war powers vote comes amid concerns that the U.S. could be engaged in another lengthy war in the Middle East. And as a CBS News poll shows that the majority of Americans disapprove of the U.S. military action against Iran. Also, 2/3 say that the administration should obtain approval from Congress for further military action. Howard University is changing its game day protocol, now requiring student athletes to either stand for the national anthem or remain in the locker room. This move comes after members of the women's basketball team knelt during the pregame ceremonies before a game against the United States Military Academy. Athletic leaders say the policy follows internal conversations about balancing student expression with respect for others. Howard University's women's basketball players have knelt during the anthem since 2020, all as a part of a protest against social injustice. Well, at least 14 cases of measles have now been confirmed at Camp East Montana in El Paso, Texas. That's the nation's largest ICE detention facility. The facility, located on the Fort Bliss Army base, holds an average of nearly 3,000 detainees inside a tent-style structure. Officials say people who have tested positive for the highly contagious disease have been separated from others in an effort to prevent further spread. Congresswoman Veronica Escobar says that the outbreak has forced the facility to close to visitors and attorneys. Escobar is now calling for the detention center to be shut down and for an investigation into the contractor that's operating the facility.
Folks, Brittany, I certainly appreciate that. Folks, don't forget to catch out the breakdown with Brittany Noble every day, noon Eastern, right here on the Black Star Network. Again, the breakdown with Brittany Noble, noon Eastern. Y'all should be showing the graphic, y'all. The breakdown with Brittany Noble, noon Eastern, every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Black Star Network. Folks, that is it for us. So let me walk you through what is going on. And so the Omega service for Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. is over. That was being conducted by Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. Right now, the Rainbow Push family, they are actually in the chapel. I mean, it is jam-packed. There's not a space in there. They just took a big family photo. Reminiscing, telling stories that's happening. Folks are all here in the lobby, jam-packed here as well. And so tomorrow, let me give you the schedule tomorrow. So the public celebration, Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson Sr. will begin at 11 a.m. Central. 11 a.m. Central, 12 Eastern. Now, if the doors open to the House of Hope at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, we will be live. We will be live beginning at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow on the Black Star Network. We'll have 2 hours of coverage before the funeral starts. All of the national media outlets are going to be here. Local networks, media from all around the world will be covering this funeral. 3 former presidents will be in attendance. Former President Barack Obama, former President Joe Biden, as well as former President Bill Clinton. They will all be here. It will be a service. Now, I've been told it is not going to last as long as Aretha Franklin and Rosa Parks. Those were 7- and 8-hour funerals. They said it's not happening, and so we do look forward to a major celebration taking place tomorrow, though, at the House of Hope. And then on Friday, what will happen on Saturday, there will be the private funeral taking place here at Rainbow Push. Doors opening at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern. We will be live here, 10 a.m. Eastern. We'll be live for an hour before that service. We will carry that service on the Black Star Network, and then we'll close it out, and then they will have the repast here in Chicago. And so it is obviously bittersweet to be back here. I worked here in Chicago 2004, 2010. I was executive editor, later general manager of the Chicago Defender. I was midday host first, then morning talk show host on WVON radio. I spent 6 years here. I came here on Saturday a whole lot to Rainbow Push, many times, walking through that front door, going through those doors, sitting in Reverend Jackson's office, having conversations with him, laughing with him. I think y'all have the photo as well. There's a photo that I shot 2 of my nieces with Reverend Jackson. The oldest just turned 29. And I think in that photo she may have been 7 or 8. So much time spent here, again, interviewing him, talking to him. I remember when Minister Louis Farrakhan had some significant health issues. He almost was close to death. And remember, he called into the audience here, and then we were in Reverend Jackson's office talking to Minister Farrakhan privately, and he was talking about how he wasn't sure if he was going to even have the surgery. He eventually had the surgery for prostate cancer at Howard University, and my goodness, that may have been 2006, and here we are 20 years later. Minister Farrakhan, 92 years old, and he spoke about Reverend Jackson, of course, a couple of Sundays ago at Savior's Day. And so we're going to be covering all of it. We're going to be covering everything. And so y'all can tune into the Black Star Network. No, I don't know of any other black-owned media outlet who's given the coverage that we're giving here. I know WVOE in Chicago is doing it. They're going to be broadcasting tomorrow as well. But we are going to have the most extensive coverage for you. Again, 2 hours tomorrow, beginning at 10 a.m. Eastern. Beginning at 10 a.m. Eastern, the homegoing service for Reverend Jackson starts at noon Eastern. And so we appreciate all of y'all watching and tuning in, telling everybody about it as well. And also, please do us a favor. Your support of what we do is critically important. We can't do this. No one is paying us to be here. We're spending thousands of dollars to be here on staff and travel to cover this because it is an important story. It is our story. And so when you support this network, then you are supporting the ability to be able to cover events like this. So please do me a favor. Contribute to us via Cash App. And when I say thousands, I need y'all to understand, to travel here with crew and everything, paying folks food, all the sort of, you're talking about $20,000+. That's what it costs to do what we're doing. And so please contribute via Cash App. You have the Stripe QR code. You see it right there. If you want to use Cash App or for credit cards, checks and money order. Make it payable to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. PayPal is R. Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Be sure to download the Black Star Network app. Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Samsung Smart TV. Also, be sure to get our, you want us to get our swag, go to shopblackstarnetwork.com for our T-shirts and mugs and wall art, all that good stuff. You can check it out there. And also support the black-owned businesses that you see for us as well, shopblackstarnetwork.com. All of these black-owned businesses, all the products you see right there, they are available at shopblackstarnetwork.com. Don't forget, download the app Fan Base, so please support them. And, of course, be sure to check out the breakdown with Brittany Noble, noon Eastern. Tomorrow, show will be preempted. We'll be live here. But normally we'll check out the breakdown with Brittany Noble every day, noon Eastern. Folks, that's it. Roland Martin here live at Rainbow Push National Headquarters here in Chicago. Of course, we're here celebrating the life and legacy of this great man right here, Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson Sr. I'll see y'all tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern right here on the Black Star Network, live from the House of Hope, Salem Baptist Church. Holla.